Rising Vibrations. This is Simon speaking, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and insights regarding the Uranus opposition. And I'm going to try today to provide us with a sense of context about what the cycle is about, how to essentially move through the cycle in a way where the least amount of trauma can actually manifest itself, and also to be able to find your direction during this incredibly intense cycle that I believe to be one of probably the most important cycles that you can actually go through in your life. I've been doing some research recently on the Uranus opposition, and I've just recently written an article on it that is being submitted to Wake Up World, and they'll put the final edits on that, and I'll attach it to this video. It probably won't be on this video for the next like 3 or 4 days, but keep coming back to check it out or look at my website within about 3 or 4 days, and it should be able to be available there. Now, the Uranus opposition, in my opinion, as I've said before, is probably one of the most important cycles that you can actually go through. I feel that all cycles holistically are, of course, important, but this one does actually create, in my opinion, a direction in life where you either activate your higher spiritual meaning, or you kind of just like fragment into another part of yourself that, you know, in your next lifetime, you'll kind of have to deal with and work through and clear out. So in my opinion, as I said before, this process of Uranus opposing your natal Uranus in your birth chart is one of like deep importance. Okay. So I've created a slideshow here just for us to kind of delve into quickly and to kind of get a sense of what's actually going on with the signature, okay? Now, for every one of you, what I would suggest you do is get your birth chart and then locate the natal placement of your Uranus. Now, for many of you, you'll probably have Uranus in Libra, maybe Uranus in Leo, for instance. Let's start with Uranus in Leo. Uranus in Leo, then Uranus in Virgo, and then of course Uranus in Libra, Uranus in Scorpio, Uranus in Sag, and even up to Uranus in Capricorn. I'm not really too sure if anybody's got Uranus in Aquarius yet that are watching this video. If you are, you rock, because you're super young and you still got lots of time to go in terms of understanding what this is about. But I would say generally the people that are going to be probably most affected by this signature would be from Sagittarius all the way to maybe Virgo. I think Virgo at this point, you've already gone through your Uranus opposition. Okay, so firstly, let's identify where Uranus is in your birth chart. Okay, natal Uranus. Now, as an example, I've just placed it here. The second thing is to then add transits to your natal chart. Okay, so you've got to try and identify where Uranus is in where it currently is today. Now, as I said before, this will be very much based on your age. Now, this usually occurs, the Uranus opposition usually occurs between around about, 38 years old to 42, and maybe even sometimes a little bit older than that, okay? Maybe 44 would be the maximum, I would say, in terms of the cycle, right? And once you've identified the Uranus opposition, now for anybody that's got Pluto, that's got Uranus in Leo, of course, Uranus would have been in Aquarius when that would have been taking place for you. Anybody that's got Uranus in Virgo, that would have been taking place when Uranus was in Pisces. For the Pluto in Libra generation souls, you've got Uranus, or should I say the souls that have got Uranus in Libra, you're actually going through that right now. And for the souls that have got Uranus in Scorpio, you're about to go into the cycle. Okay, and then there's quite some time left for the Uranus and Sagittarius souls, like myself. Okay, so you've identified where this age gap between 38 and 44. You've identified where Uranus is in your natal chart, and so on. What does it actually mean? Okay, so there's 3 phases to this element. Okay, there's the first phase, which is what I consider to be this angle here. Okay, it's called the gibbous phase in conjunct. And what happens is that's where your natal Uranus is, and your transiting Uranus between the ages of 38 will start to make an inconjunct to your natal Uranus. Okay, this is between the ages of 35 and about maybe 42 or 41, depending on obviously where that angle is. We're all individuals, so this is not applicable to everyone, but generally this is the period of time. And this inconjunct phase over here is like a crisis and a paralysis, all right? It's a crisis and paralysis angle. And so what you generally experience here is this like really, really annoying feeling of going, I need to break free, I need to readjust, okay? But it's a paralysis in the sense that you're still trying to create within yourself like self-analysis. It's like this deep internal process that needs to occur first, okay? So between 38 and 41, 42, in that period of time, this gibbous phase angle starts to take place. Like Uranus is applying, okay, to this process, to the opposition, okay? And I've gotten like other slides to go deeper into that, but for now, this is just the application or applying angle, okay? Gibbous phase inconjunct, crisis, that's the word I want you to recognize. Crisis and reflection and self-analysis. Then when Uranus hits the opposition point, so in this case it will be 16 degrees Libra, it will then create a total opposition. And this is the point, this is the fracturing point that occurs, okay? The fracturing point is this moment in your life where you decide to take this shocking experience that is presenting to you right now and act in accordance with that really radical thought idea that is, coming to you at this point in time. It's really radical, and it's like, okay, I've got to make adjustments and changes in my life. I've had enough of this crisis. I've had enough of this paralysis. I'm going to act. And it kind of sets out that coil in which then activates your new direction. You act, you go, you make that choice. And as you make that choice, it sets in line for what I would then call the full phase inconjunct. And that is the point when you start actually making the headway in regards to the rebirthing process, okay? So here, it's like labor. It's like you're gestating. You're like growing this idea within inside of yourself. And then at this point, the birth happens, okay? And you go out. And you completely break down. You completely had enough. And that's when you make the choice to go forward. And then as you go forward, this is where this regrowth process happens. You come out into the new world, you're just recently been reborn, and there's an entirely new cycle that's awaiting for you right now, okay? So this is what I would say between the ages of 30, between maybe 41 to maybe 44, okay? So 38, crisis, gestation, rebirth, and then growing process, okay? So let's look at this. Firstly, before I go into explaining those three angles, what I want to do is deepen our awareness of what Uranus is actually symbolizing in the birth chart. Firstly, it's got to do with the point where we awaken our Kundalini and connect our higher chakras and lower chakras. So the energetic centers between sense of direction, so this will be the central chakra, or should I say so you've got base chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus. Okay, you're at this point in the solar plexus, and now Uranus awakening, or the Uranus opposition, is awakening you to understand the connection to your higher self and your lower self. So it's that merging point, and that's why I say it can be incredibly dangerous to go through the cycle with not actually knowing what's going on, because you can actually fracture yourself here and not actually integrate the pieces that are going to take place in your life. So it's about a Kundalini awakening, in my opinion. It's the point where that coil that is at the bottom of your base chakra that has been defined by Saturn, all the conditioning, all this, the repression, all the definitions, etc., that needs to be fractured. And so the Uranus opposition fractures that. That's why it's such an incredibly challenging period, because everybody goes, oh my God, my life's going into insanity. It's because that's breaking. You're coming out of a shell, as it were. And it awakens that Kundalini energy. And it's where you start to now work through the heart. This is where your heart comes online. The polarity point of Aquarius is Leo, right? So it's about self-actualization. So it's this whole entire process of reaching this point here and bringing your higher consciousness, the pineal gland, your crown chakra, your throat chakra, and of course then the heart into alignment with your desires, so that it becomes your highest meaning. That's why it's awakening to true self. Okay. Now, if you look at this picture over here, I actually created midlife crisis. And midlife crisis is associated with this angle because, or this period, because if you have a look, years of your life, right? Baby, growing up, you get your education, Jupiter return, and then you hit like 20 to 30s, and it's all crazy and manic. Okay. And even up until the age of 38, it generally occurs where there's just like this necessity for emotional structure. That's why between the ages of 28 and 38, there's the Saturn element of your life of needing to take responsibility for your life and create emotional stability, right? So if you work on that between the ages of 28 and 38, by the time your Uranus opposition hits, all you do is you just integrate that growth into your life, and that becomes your higher meaning. But most of us don't do that between that period of time. We just have more crises. We don't develop emotional maturity. And so therefore, when we have that midlife crisis experience or the Uranus opposition, we don't have the necessary emotional stability to integrate what is occurring for us right now. And of course, that then creates the midlife crisis, because it's a process of I've been denied, I've been shut down. I can't follow my heart, Okay, I've had enough, and fracture, buy a new car, or, do something radical in a way that doesn't actually provide you with any sort of like stability as you go along in your life. So I wanted to use this as an example to show the lifeline of most of the people that start to actually become really, really powerful. And I say that like most artists, most souls that generally become really, really potent within their lives, like writers, for instance, start doing their life's work at around about the age of 40, in and around about that time, because it's that period of like, I need to individuate myself. So the Uranian field is about individuation. And this is the point where you break away from society and what it tells you to do, and you reintegrate back into society based on what your rules are. And you actually accelerate the nature of consciousness by bringing your own sense of beingness into the process. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit here, and let me show you the cycles of why everything happens. Firstly, we've got to now touch basically on, and that should be emotional stability. Sorry, guys. The Saturn cycle. Okay. This is the period of time, like as I said, between the ages of 28 and 38, where you desire to structure your reality. So you're working into developing the solar plexus. So you're creating security, you're creating stability, you're creating consistency. And I would highly recommend that anybody that is during this period of time is one where you learn how to stabilize your emotional responses to reality. So if something comes your way, is your response going to be of a fractured nature, of an insecure nature, or you're going to say, hey, I've got this, like I'm going to deal with this process, whatever comes my way, and accept the sort of like responsibility that Saturn gives you to develop emotional security. Okay, right. So it's all about some emotional stability between the ages of 28 and 38. Okay, that's what it's about. But unfortunately, up until that point, a lot of what you initially desire within your life is about surrender and suppression. You have to kind of like give away some of your life's desires in response to maybe stability. And that's why most people will buy like a house, or there'll be a sense of getting a child, and you'll create a family during that period of time, like really settling down. But then it requires you to pay the bills every single month. It requires you to give enough nurturance to the children so that they grow up strong and stable in their early life environments, as an example. So that would be what that practice is about. So if I could encourage you, like I said, during this period of time, to honor that period as a sense of rooting, a sense of structure, then you could absolutely like have this awesome platform to accelerate yourself with when your Uranus opposition comes along. Okay. So emotional stability is a part of this process, but the fracturing starts to occur at this point from 38 onwards, because now all of a sudden that inconjunct starts to occur, like I showed you in the first slide, and you're going, I'm finished with this process. I need to break free. I need to start letting myself not be confined by these limitations anymore. And so this initiation starts to take place, and we experience this as this like intense like fracturing and loss of security and emotional instability. And it's like, oh my gosh, everything's changing and I need to let go. And that's what's really, really important about this energetic cycle here with Saturn. As you disseminate it, you let go and you let it be, and it will bring you a new direction. But the more you respond to the situation as resistance and trying to hold on, the less you're going to find yourself being energetically sort of open to these new erratic situations that are occurring. Okay, so as you hit this kind of like Uranus opposition period, and this quincunx is starting to take place, you're going to go through deep feelings of like limitation, and you need to self-analyze, and there's this crisis that's going to start happening for you. Let it be. Let the crisis occur. Let this process happen so that you can come to the conclusions and saying, I'm done. So that when you hit the Uranus opposition energetically, the Kundalini energy that's coming from the root chakra that's moved up to this base over here, which is that point over there. Can you see the world of formation? So this is the point where you are at right now. This is just before you hit that Uranus opposition. And Uranus opposition is saying, okay, come on, we've got to hit these into creation now. You've got to kind of bring this now back into your spine. You've got to bring this back into your world. What was your destiny? And always by house and sign, we'd be able to establish as an astrologer what that is. So if you're interested in actually having a Uranus opposition reading with me, or want to know how to process that, you can check out my site and book a reading with myself, and we could actually look at that more in depth for you. But coming back to this over here, it's aligning this higher sense of meaning in alignment with what you've created. So you've developed this emotional stability, and now you're coming energetically to bring these heart-centeredness into it. So you have to let go of the structures that you've built in order for you to be reborn. And that's what it is about. It's a rebirth cycle. So there can be two ways. You can either experience this in a massive traumatic way where you freak out because everything around you is breaking down and you can't let go of it. And, you start fragmenting and all of a sudden everything just dissipates because the trauma is too intense. Or you can allow yourself to go with this new direction and readjust the way that your world is operating in alignment with this new opposition that is taking place, or this new direction. And it's a very spiritual experience. It's not something that's like easily integrated. It's a very like deep process of slowing down and realizing what is important and clearing out and cleansing and purifying, so that when you rebirth yourself into the world, you feel fresh. And that's what the opposition is about, is that it's like, how well do you go through the birthing canal? And I would definitely say that if you've got some tight angles to the ascendant, this could be a challenging aspect, because that's how you get born into new experiences. So for me, I've got tons of squares to my ascendant, so that sucks. Anyway, all right. So energetically, what's happening is that the Kundalini is arising to this point in your heart chakra and throat chakra and crown third eye chakra is needing to be integrated into what your action is, what your direction is. And the emotional stability is now formed. And this is when you start to say, like, as in my case, I would be teaching astrology, I'd be doing all this type of stuff, but at some point I'm going to be done with doing everybody else's type of way of doing stuff, and I want to individuate it. So that can maybe me bringing a new way of learning astrology that's never been done before, and then integrating that into society where I get to choose the rules. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like a new way of presenting yourself into the world that is so unique that allows other people to then have a new direction that could be possible. It's breaking the norms and allowing people to see new paradigm shifts, as it were. But you first have to be that paradigm shift in order for it to be represented. So energetically, that's what's happening, right? Now, physically, as I said before, the structure of your life is being reconditioned. So that's why I say it will fracture, creating necessary readjustments, okay? So if you have a look at the natural zodiac, Aquarius in conjunct Virgo in conjunct Cancer, and Cancer is security through consistency, and Virgo is routines. So Uranus fractures it and says, all of a sudden, you don't have consistency and you don't have routines. You've just got to let go of the process of how it's been done before, and then go into the process of the baby being reborn through the caterpillar mutating into the butterfly. As the process of the caterpillar dissolves itself and then goes into a cocoon process, it comes out the other side transmuted. So that's what's happening. This is the in conjunct phase, the 38 to 41, as it were, where you dissolve yourself. The structure of your life fractures. And then what happens is you experience a period of time of just intense reflection. And then after that period of time, you get reborn into the process. And that's what this is about. It's that entire Uranian expression of being reborn. And it's a magical cycle if you learn to recognize that it's taking all the work that you've worked with in the last, say, for instance, 10 years of your life, and then adding color to it, but in your own specific way. Okay? Awesome, guys. So I think that this video really kind of gives a deeper perspective on this. As I said before, if you're interested in wanting to explore Uranus opposition or how it potentially can occur for you, I have services on my website. Just book a reading with myself. That will be really exciting to actually do. Other than that, hit the like and subscribe button. And don't forget the membership on Raising Vibrations. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.